Hey there, my name's Sam, and today I'm going to show you a little bit about Mekorma MICR. Mekorma MICR is a richly featured payment processing tool for your Dynamics GP system that can help improve your outgoing payment processing in many ways. In this video, we'll go over how Mekorma MICR prints MICR checks while utilizing Mekorma MICR Secure Approval Workflow to control outgoing cash, as well as how to use the Secure Approval Workflow options to customize the application of the workflow process to further meet your needs. We will also cover the logs and the check image archive that can be used to audit and monitor your payments after the fact. Other Mekorma MICR features, such as multi-batch management for processing multiple payment batches at once, are covered in other videos available on our website. The term MICR checks refers to starting with blank check stock, like this, and printing all required information like this. Mekorma MICR comes with a library of pre-designed formats that you can use and modify, making setup even easier. All of the pre-configured formats are also modifiable, so if you'd like to change the content on any of these formats so that they further meet your needs, Mekorma MICR comes with a specialized check configurator with a standard drag and drop interface, making it simple to customize check formats. Once configured, Mekorma MICR checks can be printed from the same places and through the same processes that you can print out-of-the-box Dynamics GP checks, such as the Print Checks window. If you are using Mekorma MICR Secure Approval Workflow to achieve greater control over your payments, however, you'll find that Mekorma MICR will prevent you from printing payments until a batch has gone through the approval process, unless you're a qualified approver, of course. To request approval from the Print Checks window, simply click the according button here. Alternatively, once batches are done being built, you can also request approval from the Edit Checks, Edit Check Batch, and Select Checks window. And finally, you can request approval for multiple batches at the same time by going to the Mekorma Check/EFT Batch Status list. Choose one or more batches, then click Request Approval. Now, let's go through an example of the approval process so you can see how it works. We'll start logged in as Sean, the user who will be requesting approval. As you can see, I'm here in the Select Checks window and my batch has already been built. To request approval from here, I simply open up the additional menu and choose Request Approval. Qualified approvers will now be notified by text or email that there are payments waiting for his or her review. Note that if Sean uses multi-batch management to build his batches, the request approval step may be set up to happen automatically as each batch is built. This is done on the options window of the multi-batch management action board and is a one-time per user setup. Qualified approvers may be notified by email or by text that they have approvals waiting. However, if you are using multi-batch management and are building many batches, you may prefer to manually send the batch build report to the approvers after the build is done, instead of having the system send the notification, to avoid the approvers receiving many separate emails. Now, the approver will need to log into each company that has batches needing approval. I'll log in as a user who is a qualified approver, named Rebecca. When I log in as Rebecca, then click on the purchasing panel on the left of the window, I have access to the batches waiting for approval list. If I click on this, it will show me each batch that I need to review for approval or rejection. If I select one batch, then click Go To, and then click to open the Mekorma Approval Batch drill down window, I can see all the vendors with payments in that batch, as well as a breakdown of the payments from each vendor. If I find a payment that I do not want to pay at this time, I can select the vendor that it would be going to and choose Reject. For example, if I select Business Mag, I can see all the payments listed under that vendor. Upon examination, I notice that all of these payments are the same amount, except for one. Since that's a bit strange, I'll investigate. So, I click on the voucher number, and then the inquiry window comes up. Now, if you're using DocAttach or a similar third-party plugin that integrates with the inquiry window, this is the window through which you can access an image of the corresponding invoice of a given payment. Since I'm using DocAttach, I can access that image by selecting the note for this voucher, selecting the relevant image, and clicking Preview. In this instance, I can see that the value for this specific payment indeed doesn't correspond with the value written on the invoice, so clearly a mistake has been made. For this reason, I want to reject just this one payment. To do this, I'll head back to the Batch drill down window, select Business Mag, and choose to reject the payments coming from that vendor. I'll then be given an opportunity to note a reason for the rejection. Then I'll click OK, and the payments from the vendor are now removed from this batch and placed in a separate batch that can't be printed until addressed. It's important to note though, that when a payment is rejected from a batch, it isn't deleted from the system, but simply moved. It's also important to note that I cannot add a payment to the batch from this window. I can only reject or approve payments that are already there. So now that I have reviewed the batch and rejected any payments that I do not want to make, I'll mark the batch and select Approve. The person who requested approval, in this case Sean, will now be notified by email or text of all approvals and rejections that occurred here. He can refresh the action board and print all payment batches that have been approved as they come in, and after printing, once the payments have been posted, they'll automatically be placed in the check image archive. So now that we've gone through how the printing process works with Secure Approval Workflow turned on, let's go over a few options that will allow you to customize Secure Approval Workflow to further meet your needs. As you can see, you can choose to have between 0 and 2 approvers required on payments. Furthermore, you can choose to have the number of required approvers be constant, or you can choose to have that number depend on the payment amount by establishing a threshold here. Similarly, you can choose to require between 0 and 2 signatures required on payments, with that number remaining constant or depending on a threshold amount for the payment value. You can also choose to have all users share the same default signature, or for each user to have their own. And finally, you can designate which checkbooks a given user can approve payments from, as well as a maximum payment amount that a user can approve. In this example, I've simply chosen to always require 1 approver and signature. Once payments have been posted, if I'd like to view an image of a printed copy of a payment, I can access that as well as information on who approved the payment by looking up the transaction in the Check Image Archive, either through the Transaction by Vendor window, Transaction Document Number window, or the Checkbook Registry Inquiry window. For this example, I'll look up a payment by vendor. Once inside this window, with the relevant vendor selected, I'll choose the payment that I'd like to view the corresponding check of and click the link titled Document Number. From here, you can see the Audit Inquiry window, which provides information regarding the approver or approvers of this payment, as well as a printed image of the check. Another way you can view information regarding who approved payment batches is through the audit log. From here, you can see each printed batch with auditing information, such as the checkbook the batch is being paid from, the posting and printing dates, the user who printed the batch, as well as the user who approved the batch, the number of payments in each batch, and the total value of each batch. If you'd like to see more information regarding the payments in a batch, click on the Number of Checks link. From here, you can see a breakdown of each payment in a batch, including information such as check number, the vendor ID, and each payment's total value, making this a particularly effective way to gather information on payments that have already been made. And that's how printing MICR checks works with Mekorma's Secure Approval Workflow. If you need more information on any of the processes mentioned in this video, please view the page linked in the description of this video for additional resources. We hope this video has given you a good idea about how Mekorma MICR works, as well as how it can help you improve your payment process even further. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.